Okay, so got quite a bit of news to go over here today. Before I get into that, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's start with this LA Times op ed. All budget breaks are gone, and Republicans have no one else to blame. Now, I've never really read too much of the LA Times, but I think this article is pretty good. It's actually pretty fair. Surprising from LA, but starts out after the Senate passed the 1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, President Biden came out to take a bow. The measure came not a moment too soon. For over a year, the American people were told they were on their own. We know that's not true. Highlights hyper partisanship is to live entirely in the moment. With no historical memory and no foresight beyond the lifespan of a tweet, Trump's administration was a constant demonstration of this dynamic. For example, he insisted the military had been totally run to the ground under its predecessor. We had no ammunition. That's ridiculous. They're right. That is ridiculous. So, and then you see the same similar thing from Biden, right? That they were, he says Americans were all on their own. There was no COVID, the vaccine rollout, all that. That simply wasn't true. Just wasn't true. And so going further, the 1.9 trillion in this package is simply the latest installment of an unprecedented spending spree. Yeah, this time last year, Congress passed the CARES Act, 2 trillion. Congress extended the act to a tune of 900 billion. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell fairly chastised the Democrats for passing another round of massive spending on the party line vote. And it goes on to say that, we did all this. McConnell said we passed all this stuff before, and, so that's ridiculous. And yeah, you know, they're right on this. It's I don't know. We did this to ourselves, I guess. But what can you do? But while I'm on the topic of that, I'll talk about this. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen downplaying concerns of inflation. Look, I'm not an economist, but I know that Michael Burry is a pretty smart guy, and he says that he he says it's coming and it's going to be bad. You already see it. It's already starting to affect us. But whatever. Just keep denying it and printing that money. It's just. But yeah, Republicans have criticized the bill for measures that would bail out blue states floundering amid lockdown orders and allocate money to schools without guarantees of them reopening for in person learning. Well, Elections have consequences. Maybe they should have pushed back harder. I don't know. I want to talk about Graham. This dude, this guy, this is he is the biggest snake in the grass. I'm still I want to see Trump come out and say that this guy's got to go because he does. This guy's now he's in he puts out this garbage statement. He's that he just keeps flip flopping, and I don't know. This guy's ridiculous. He's got to go. He he man, this dude is such a snake. It's ridiculous. But in other news, Democrats reintroduce bill to limit transfer of military equipment to police. Why do you think that is? Take a guess. Because we're going to see massive, widespread riots. So, taking away some of the, you know, leftover stuff from the military, whatever, taking stuff away from that, it's it's going to be bad. That's just, but we know exactly what they're doing. I don't know how anybody even can be a cop in one of these cities anymore. Like, is the pay really worth it? Even the pay. I mean, at what point do people do, do these guys wake up and stop? You know, like in Maryland, they can't hire police officers, to maintain the staffing level that they need. Well, you know, I wonder why that is. So we had I don't know if yeah, this I would not want to be a cop. They had to pull this lady over for anything. So the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee's new chief technology officer, Erica Joy Baker, tweets anti-police stuff, called on police precincts to be burned to the ground if she were ever to be killed by an officer, whatever. So, and it's in response to this. Protesters shouldn't sully Taylor's legacy with violent demonstrations. Joe Biden is a weak old man. This is where the Democrats are going. It's going to be a crazy summer. That I know. Tweets stuff for defunding San Francisco Police Department. So, other tweet. I hate the police. The institution of policing, with its history of criminalizing and weaponizing blackness, is a farce, and I hate it. These people are dangerous. They really are. They're dangerous. They say things like this, and then people act it out, and that's what happens. So, Judicial Watch submitted a FOIA request into Nancy Pelosi's coup where she tried to take control of the military away from Trump while he was still president, with like a couple weeks left in his presidency. You know, she should be sitting in a jail cell right now. Just my opinion. She literally tried to attempted a military coup to take control of the military from a sitting president. Insane. Just completely insane. And but lastly, have some breaking news. This is going to be something to watch for. Jack Posobiec tweets, I'm told the National Guard does not concur with the Secretary of Defense extending their DC deployment and will be issuing a memo soon. So, like this, the military factions disagreeing with each other is how it will kick off. And I believe that. That's very true because once you different groups within the military start disagreeing with each other, and Joe Biden's not going to be able to do anything about it because he's just a weak old man. All of this is by design. Think about it. All of it. You know, the Chinese want us to do this shit. They really do. Think about it. It would be, you got states are, states are planning secession, not just Texas, but everywhere. Wyoming, they're floating it over there. The western states, and basically all the red states. You know, we got. Meanwhile, while the Chinese are deploying nuclear submarines, we're over here fighting about Mr. Potato Head and goddamn just cartoon characters and all sorts of all that nonsense. You know, so I think we're in serious trouble, and nobody, there's nobody to do anything about it. It's going to be a crazy few years for sure. Joe Biden's ramping up. He's trying to push. It sounds like he's trying to push Russia to war. The Chinese are preparing for war, and we're over here about to start a war with ourselves while we argue about, you know, transvestites in the military and Mr. Potato Head. That's what we're worried about. Oh, and the whatever the uh, Prince of England and his problems, like that has anything to do with us or why we should even care. That's what people are talking about. This, meanwhile, here the National Guard is disagreeing with the Secretary of Defense. That's crazy. You know, that's I'm waiting to see what it's going to be, but that's how this stuff starts. It's coming. You know, it's not it's never overnight. You know, they don't just all of a sudden one day everything's fine and then the next day, you know. I think that if Trump had won, it would have just things would have just escalated so much quicker. But because it went the other way, they're desperately trying to maintain control, but it's not working. They're desperately trying to maintain control. You know, if they truly believed, there's no faith in there's no faith in Joe Biden. Why do you think there's a fence with th- with thousands of troops guarding it? You know, it's things are going to get crazy. It's only a matter of time. So I just hope that everybody's prepared for. I just keep getting ready because it's coming. You know, you got or if nothing else, be ready for this summer because the riots are coming back and they're coming back big. Because I've got I've got a huge feeling that Chauvin's going to be let off. There's just no way they keep coming out with more evidence that you know that he OD'd. You know, it's unfortunate, but that's what happens. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there.